Good morning, students. Here, uh, in this video, we will discuss about cooling of engine or engine cooling. So, why engine cooling is required? That I will explain here. In this process, converting thermal energy to the mechanical work as a result of combustion, high temperatures are produced. This heat is transferred to the cylinder wall and piston wall. Unless these parts are accurately cooled, the engine will be damaged. A part of total fuel energy is converted into mechanical work and rest is rejected in the form of heat from the engine surface by combustion action of the convection and radiation, heat loss to the exhaust, heat rejection to the coolant. In general, converts 30% of fuel energy into useful work. Only 30% of fuel energy will be converted into useful work, and remaining will get exhausted out of the engine because of the above reasons whatever I already told you. Now the cooling is necessary due to the following reasons. What are the reasons which are required, which are necessary for cooling the engine? So first reason, the engine temperature increases, the strength of the material used for the various engine components are decreases. So as an example, in water cooled engine, the temperature of the cylinder head should not be exceed 270 degrees Celsius, and air cooled engines uses light alloys, the temperature should not exceed 200 degrees Celsius. So this is what it is, first reason why the cooling is required for the engine. And now the second reason is the lubricating oil used in the engine also decides the maximum temperature that can be used for the different lubricating oils. This temperature ranges varies from 1600 degrees Celsius to 200 degrees Celsius. If the engine temperature exceeds this limit, it may be it may be or it is deteriorate, or it may be what it happens, the property of the lubricating oil will be changes. So, or we can say that the evaporation and burnout of the lubricating oil will be taken place inside the cylinder, and so that what happens, it causes piston and cylinder damage. Overheating results in piston seizing also. The third reason why the cooling is required in the IC engine is high cylinder head temperature. So cylinder head temperature, if at all it is high, results in the loss of volumetric efficiency, which reduces power output. High engine temperature maybe causes pre-ignition and detonation. This is also which is not good for the engine. Now the methods of cooling. Directly we will moving towards the methods of cooling. So we have two types here. So first one is the air cooling type and water cooling. So air cooling is here the air stream flows continuously over the heated metal surface, and the rate of heat dissipation depends on the surface area of the metal, air mass flow rate, thermal conductivity, of the metal, temperature difference between the metal and the air. So these are the three parameters which are affects the heat transfer rate. To increase the effectiveness of the metal surface area which is in contact with the air should be increased. This is done by providing fins over the cylinder barrel. The fins may be cast integral with the cylinder or may be attached separately. So likewise there is a air cooling method. So this is the diagram we are having here. So that this diagram you may observe here, it is the cylinder. So over the cylinder fins are provided, inlet wall is there, exhaust wall is there, so that what happens, whatever the heat will be generated inside the cylinder, so that has to dissipate out of the cylinder through the wall. So if the fins are provided, so surface area increases and the heat transfer rate also increases. So likewise the effectiveness of heat transfer rate or a cooling process can be increases here with the help of fin when the air is used as a coolant. So now water cooling. in these systems, the water jacket surrounds engine. So there is a water jacket which is kept around the or installed around the engine cylinder, and cooling and cooling water flows through these jackets. Through these jackets, heat is conducted through the cylinder wall to water in the jacket, which removes the excess heat as it circulates through the radiator. So radiator here, cooling systems are classified into two types, that is thermosiphon system and pump circulation system. So thermosiphon system. So this is the diagram for the thermosiphon system. So here we are having here the very important parts, that is header tank, collector tank, okay, and this is the very important part, that is the radiator, cooling air, and hose pipe, fan. So likewise it is there. So whatever the water is enter here in the radiator, hot water, so cooling air will be flow through this, and so that what happens, so hot water will be removes or rejects its heat, so that what happens, it get cooled and it will be collected over the collector tank, and once again that water will be circulate around the water jacket of the cylinder, and which will be returned back to the header tank. So likewise what happens, the cooling process of water will be taken place, and it will be reduced heat from the engine. So this is what it is, thermosiphon type of cooling system. And now one more system we are having here, it is the pump circulation system. So this is also the working process or the working principle of the pump circulation system is also same as like whatever the previous, that is siphon type of cooling system or circulation system. So here the thing is that the pump is used for the circulation of water. So in the previous type, so what happens here, the water will be circulate inside the radiator naturally. You can say that temperature difference and the density difference, but here the pump is used for the circulation of water inside the radiator, so that what happens, water will be get cooled and it will be again flow towards the engine to receive the heat from the engine, so that what happens, we can maintain the temperature. So likewise we are having two types here for the cooling of the engine. Now directly moving towards the engine lubrication. Now lubrication. So here we are having some objective for the lubrication. So first one is the reduce power loss by minimizing friction between moving part. So with the help of lubrication we can reduce the friction between the moving parts and decrease wear and tear of the moving components. So these are the two objectives of the lubrication process. So now main objectives, and the engine lubrication systems. So we have different types of systems here. Directly we will moving towards the diagram only. So that is here the splash lubrication system. So this is the very important type here for the lubrication. So it consists of what happens here, connecting rod will be there, crankshaft. So these two will be connected to each other, and the scoop or a hook structure is provided at the bottom, and lubricating oil, this is the lubricating oil, and the lubricating oil sump it is, and overflow pipe. So here what happens, so connecting rod and crankshaft. So when the crankshaft rotates, so connecting rod also will be get the what happens, reciprocates, and here scoop they are provided here, it will be receive oil from the particular this oil sump, and it will be spray or supply that oil towards the engine cylinder, so that what happens, the lubrication will be taken place. So likewise this is the method how the lubrication process will be taken place in the splash lubrication system. And now moving towards pressure feed lubrication system. So here you are having here one more diagram for the pressure lubrication system. So that is full pressure feed lubrication system. So diagram here, this is the full pressure feed lubrication system. So it consists of very important the oil sump. Once again here this is the oil sump, and the strainer is there, oil pump is there, oil filter is required, oil fan is there, or oil sump or oil fan, oil pressure switch, and these are the different parts of the IC engines. So you already know this is, that is crankshaft, camshaft, rotor shaft. So likewise, so here with the help of pump, so that what happens, oil will be sucked from the oil sump or a oil fan, so through the strainer and the filter, so that what happens, so impurities can be removed from the oil, and which will be pressurized through these pipelines, so that oil will be enter into the crankshaft. That is, sir. Andre? Now that oil will be pressured through these pipelines towards the crankshaft and camshaft and various parts of the engine. So this is what it is, full pressure feed lubrication system. And now the dry sump lubrication system. Here also we are having here dry sump lubrication system. This is the diagram, and it consists of pressure, relief valve, vent. And the dry sump we are having here, strainer is there, filter is there, and filter, bypass pressure, relief valve, and vent and supply tank. So likewise it is there. So here we are having the two pumps, that is two oil pumps, which is there here. And first oil pump is used to flow oil from the dry sump, so that what happens, oil will be entered through the filter and will be enter into the supply tank, and then it will be flow towards the engine with the help of one more oil pump, and oil will be moving towards the, here oil cooler is there, so hot oil temperature will be reduced here, and that oil will be enter into the cylinder. So likewise the dry sump lubrication system will be work. So this is what it is about the lubrication system and cooling systems of the engine. So the next video we will discuss about the fourth model. Okay, thank you.